Don't make me open a can of whoop-ass, Buster.
So every generation has a different ideal of beauty or perceives a different side of beauty and successively ever seeks some new form for its expression. Yeah. I don't know if this is significant or symbolic or what, but October 9th to the 11th. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, love it, man. Just how they're carrying on, you know, because plane's just taking off, but don't worry about it because according to CHRIS BOVEY, it's just a fuel dump. Yeah, it's just fuel dumping, that's all it is. Yeah.
This is what happens when you have a lot of moisture upstairs. The jets planes that are traveling in the sky are up somewhere usually between 28 and 38,000 feet, up where air temperatures are anywhere from 40 to 80 degrees below zero. As a jet plane travels, it's burning Jet A fuel, that's basically kerosene, and the byproducts are carbon dioxide, which you can't see, and water vapor, which condenses out in that super cold air. And I mean, like I said, anywhere from 40 to 80 below zero. So it instantly condenses out into ice crystals. There are over 40,000 flights across the United States every day. And every time this happens, I will get people calling, writing, emailing, saying, these are chemtrails, the government is poisoning us. And I tried to tell them, look, see the high clouds? That's why they don't disappear, because the atmosphere is up there, it's saturated, so this stuff gets out and doesn't evaporate, it just kind of gradually spreads out. That's the explanation. They are contrails, condensation trails. All right, here.
So tell her no.
50 years ago, secret biological warfare trials were carried out in the skies and on the streets of East Anglia without the public knowing. So alarming are our discoveries that tonight's programme is an Inside Out special.
Were 3 deaths from cancer in this woman's family the result of spraying cadmium from military aircraft?
I really put it down to the cadmium being dropped, and it was settled into the soil.
It was top secret. It mustn't be told to the people what was happening. I think it does matter, you know, in terms of the health of people, that they know that this is being inflicted on them.
We came to the conclusion that no one is likely to have suffered any harm from the amounts of zinc cadmium sulfide they might have encountered even in a worst case scenario.
Now I tell him of our new plan and... What you talking about? Classic one-sided shrug. Translation of absolutely no confidence in what I just said. The body contradicts the words. He's lying.
Governance issues surrounding geoengineering.
Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering.
You're either very smart or incredibly stupid.
Let's take a look at this. This is what happens when you have a lot of moisture upstairs. The jets planes that are traveling in the sky are up somewhere usually between 28 and 38,000 feet, up where air temperatures are anywhere from 40 to 80 degrees below zero. As a jet plane travels, it's burning Jet A fuel, that's basically kerosene, and the byproducts are carbon dioxide, which you can't see, and water vapor, which condenses out in that super cold air. I mean, like I said, anywhere from 40 to 80 below zero. So it instantly condenses out into ice crystals. There are over 40,000 flights across the United States every day, and every time this happens, I will get people calling, writing, emailing, saying these are chemtrails, the government is poisoning us. And I tried to tell them, look, see the high clouds? That's why they all disappear, because the atmosphere up there is saturated, so the stuff gets out and doesn't evaporate, it just kind of gradually spreads out. That's the explanation. They are contrails, condensation trails.
I'm not finished yet!
Well, what if there is no tomorrow? There wasn't one today.
Watch out, Batman. This could be tricky.
Faking lines. Faking lines. Faking lines. Making
His reaction to my statement. Right now, ATF is searching every inch of the two largest flag chasers in the state. And what you just saw there was a brief expression of happiness on his face, which he was trying his best to conceal. Lasted for less than a fifth of a second as what we call a micro-expression. Now look at his mouth. The suspect is secretly happy about the locations we are searching, which tells me we have the wrong locations. Now I tell him of our new plan and... What you talking about? Classic one-sided shrug. Translation: I have absolutely no confidence in what I just said. The body contradicts the words. He's lying.
My name is Robin Lustig. I'm going to be chairing this event this morning. In my day job, I work for the BBC. So I'm going to be a moderator. I will try to make sure that the speakers speak more or less to time. I will also try to make sure that they speak more or less to the subject under discussion, which, as you are well aware, is principally concerned with governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering.
His reaction to my statement. Right now, ATF is searching every inch of the two largest flag chasers in the state. And what you just saw there was a brief expression of happiness on his face, which he was trying his best to conceal. Lasted for less than a fifth of a second as what we call a micro-expression. Now look at his mouth. The suspect is secretly happy about the locations we are searching, which tells me we have the wrong locations.
These, my friends, are actual clouds. I know. Shocking, innit? Oh. Oh. Spotted it. hiding behind the cloud there. Straight line. Oh dear. Well, anyway, back in the day, for the kiddies, we don't know, we used to have these things called clouds, and they was misshapen cotton wool-like objects, mostly. Your cumulus clouds and your different cloud types, and they've all been catalogued and registered with those that do geography and those that know about the weather reports and things like that. But the straight line ones that are creeping in, that someone's just taken a pencil on an art program and just drawn that in. That's not a cloud. That's something else, known as geoengineering.
Conspiracy theorists believe that California's drought is actually being caused by the government. Now, of course, the way that this whole thing is being reported is super condescending. And, you know, Rob Dew, let's get into it. I'm tired of this condescending thing of saying, how could that even exist?
Well, let me just say this. Back in 2009, I made a road trip with Jason Douglas and Jason Burmis. We went and toured California, drove up to the Northern California, met Rosalind Peterson, and met her, the town she lived in, met her mayor, who also thought something was going on. So and Rosalind had worked for the agricultural board. She was been in farming all her life. The farmers we went and talked to, there's something going on. They're spraying something. The trees are dying.
Right.
The livestock is sick. There's something going on. We're not getting as much rain as we used to. There's high levels of heavy metals in the snowpack. These all aren't crazy people that are coming up with this. And the guy they focus on there, Dane Wigington, we've had him on the show before. We're actually trying to get him on for tomorrow. You know, these people aren't crazy people. Dane is worked in the solar industry for a while, and he's like noticing less solar activity hitting the Earth.
He's taken a lot of things in to get lab tests done, a lot of samples there. We've spoken to so many people, and we're going to actually be airing some videos coming up in the next segment where we have experts talking about how weather modification is being used, how it's been used as a weapon of warfare. So we're going to get more into that.
Right. Yeah, just a response video. Because don't you fucking worry, mate. Because at the end of the day, like CHRIS Bovey, yeah, it's just a fuel dump, you know? The plane's taking a dump on your head. Don't worry about it. I mean, it's nothing at the end of the day. It's not the kind of thing that Heathrow security will just jump on you and detain you for 8 hours, because that means absolutely nothing, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a fuel dump.
From Ben Livingston, who's the father of weather weapons. This guy was doing cloud seeding, where he said they would take a small cloud, run a jet through it a few times, spraying in their aerosols, and they would turn it into a monsoon to flood areas out that they wanted flooded out. And they did this with precision back in the 60s. This was during the Vietnam War.
Right.
So you think they're not doing
allegedly,
it now? And you think it's not more advanced now? Come on. And, you know, there's a couple articles in The Guardian. Here's one from 2012. U.S. geoengineers to spray sun-reflecting chemicals from balloon. Okay, they're not doing it from balloons, I'll tell you that. But this is the cover story. Oh, we're doing it from balloons. And you go down to the third paragraph. David Keith, who's a big geoengineering proponent, he's been confronted many times by other geoengineering activists. One of the investigators has argued that solar geoengineering could be an inexpensive method to slow down global warming, but other scientists warn that it could have unpredictable, disastrous consequences for the Earth's weather system and food supplies. Environmental groups fear that the push to make geoengineering a plan B for climate change will undermine efforts to reduce carbon emissions. So they hide it on this carbon climate change BS. Right. But this right here, Earth's weather systems and food supplies. We talked to Dr. Tim Ball. He was in Fall of the Republic. He was the guy who's been studying the climate his whole life.
Right.
And he says, look, the climate changes. It happens all the time. You can't stop climate change if you wanted to. But what we're doing is trying to play God in certain areas, in certain regions. And by spraying stuff in the air, we're basically destroying certain areas. We're changing their weather systems.
And that's exactly the concern. We have the United Nations Environment Program, where they're actually talking about geoengineering and how important it is to combat global warming and climate change. But of course, they talk about the fact that you can't mess with one part of the environment without affecting many other parts of the environment.
It's a weird version of the butterfly effect. If you mess with something here, it's going to change something downstream.
Exactly.
I've been wanting to try that for years. See, you would have been found guilty, but you were just angry. You should be spending your money studying the face. 43 muscles combined to produce a possibility of 10,000 expressions. Now, if you learn them all, you don't need a polygraph.
How much did we spend on this damn project anyway?
Not much. I'm sure we can recoup most of our costs.
Oh, that was lovely. What? Gestural retreat.
What's that? He stepped backwards. Means he doesn't believe what he just said. He's lying.
Well, I'm not a crook. I burn everything I've got. Everything I've got. Everything I've got.
Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. It's an interesting, controversial subject, not being discussed very much, as far as I know, up the road there at the Bella Centre, although what they have been discussing is a matter of some mystery to many of us on the outside. We may know a little more by the end of today.
Well, I'm not a crook. I burn everything I've got. Everything I've got. Everything I've got.
We may know a little more by the end of today. Who knows, even while we are gathered here. We may know a little more by the end of today. Who knows even while we are gathered here? We may know a little more by the end of today. Who knows even while we are gathered here? Who knows even while we are gathered here? The great and the good gathered up the road, maybe finally making progress on a deal. We're going to start with two keynote speakers, John Shepherd and Jason Blackstock, who will each speak for 15 minutes or so. We'll then have a panel to whom I shall ask some questions, but the principal task for them will be to answer your questions, and I hope we'll have an interesting discussion. So, let us start with John Shepherd, who I suspect needs no introduction from me, from the National Oceanography Centre at the University of Southampton. John.
Geoengineering, in our definition, is the deliberate large-scale intervention in the Earth's climate system in order to moderate global warming, and is therefore something which is additional to conventional mitigation and adaptation activity. The idea is that should mitigation efforts be insufficient to avoid dangerous climate change, it might become necessary to think about a plan B in which we would augment those efforts by attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system. 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 Attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system.
Classic one-sided shrug. Translation: I have absolutely no confidence in what I just said. The body contradicts the words. He's lying.
Attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system. 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 Geoengineering, in our definition, is the deliberate large-scale intervention in the Earth's climate system in order to moderate global warming, and is therefore something which is additional to conventional mitigation and adaptation activity.
I mean, I've never even seen him get angry. Why would he want to kill her anyway?
You feeling emotional in any way right now, Jacqueline?
No. It's okay if you are. I feel fine.
The idea is that should mitigation efforts be insufficient to avoid dangerous climate change, it might become necessary to think about a plan B in which we would augment those efforts by attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system.
Why would I know what happened to Mr. McCartney?
Oh, you tell me.
Why would I know?
Why would I know? Eyebrows go up like yours. Person knows the answer to the question they're asking.
Attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system. 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 Now, this is an idea which has been discussed fairly widely in the media and on the internet in the last few years, and there is much misinformation and confusion, and it was for that reason that the Royal Society decided to undertake this study to try to establish the facts so far as we could and to see what the real issues were, particularly in order to enable a well-informed debate in fora such as this about whether or not this should be seriously considered, and if so, what needs to be done to prepare for that. To enable a well-informed debate, to enable a well-informed debate, to enable a well-informed debate, to enable a well-informed debate.
The globalists have controlled the mainstream media for a long time, but now they're expanding, making the weaponization even more vicious and deceptive. All the major networks are state-run.
To enable a well-informed debate.
We are partnering this year with the NFL.
To enable a well-informed debate.
The NFL has become a political weapon against the Second Amendment and pushes Obamacare.
To enable a well-informed debate.
MSNBC tells us that our children belong to the state.
We have to break through our kind of private idea that kids belong to their parents or kids belong to their families and recognize that kids belong to whole communities.
To enable a well-informed debate.
The brainwashing media machine has been turned up on high, and it's time for humanity to double down on the true people's media and strike back against the tyrants that are destroying our civilization with their lies and fraud. We are the resistance. You are the resistance. You are the info war. It is more important than ever to realize that we are not the alternative media. We are the true media. The establishment dinosaur press is dying.
We are in an information war, and we are losing that war.
To enable a well-informed debate. 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 Attempting to modify directly the Earth's climate system. 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 Particularly in order to enable a well-informed debate in fora such as this about whether or not this should be seriously considered. And if so, what needs to be done to prepare for that?
Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering. Governance issues surrounding geoengineering.
Sorry, no fishing here.
Why not? Why can't I fish?
Need a licence.
I don't remember signing any contract that said I would need to apply for a licence.
Gotta have a licence, mate, cost you 50 quid.
Yeah, well, we'd like to see you try and enforce that.
Debit card or credit card to Nottingham City Council, thank you.
No thanks, I think I'll get that one a miss this time. Fish were put here for us, nobody can tell me otherwise. All this water, it's all free as well, you know. It comes from the seas and the rivers, goes up into the clouds, comes back down, goes through the rocks, gets purified, and we can drink it if we want to. But then, Mrs. Thatcher decided to sell all our resources off to her private buddies. And so, she committed treason. The water companies made over £2 billion profit last year, of which 1.5 billion of it went to its shareholders. For what? How much did they pay the clouds? Nothing.
So in our study we did not consider Plan A itself, that is to say the development of low carbon energy resources, conservation, the use of renewables, and all the things that we know really have to be done in the next few decades.
Don't you worry, people. Don't you worry about those wavy lines in the centre of the picture, yeah, that have nothing to do with any planes passing by. That's just a fuel dump as well, because people like talking out of that, don't they? It's just a fuel dump, mate. It's just a fuel dump, and they just dump all the time, whether they're taking off or landing. doesn't really matter because they don't need fuel to fly planes. They fly anti-gravity. They fly on butterflies and daydreams and sugar and spice. That's how it fucking works. Yeah, that's the fuel dump. And those little wavy lines in the sky that are not CG'd, and we'll keep it on the screen and I'll do loads of weird shit so you can see that I ain't spending no time doing no special effects or CGI. This is exactly what I see in the sky, and you're seeing it too. But according to CHRIS BOVEY, with his one eye in his video, yeah, we see that, mate. Yeah, that's the only time you see you in the video with your one eye, isn't it? According to Chris, yeah, and his legion of, well, shall we say, misleaders. Yeah, these are all fuel dumps. That's just a fuel dump in the sky. Those wavy lines, yeah, those wavy lines that have nothing to do with HARP or weather weaponry, they're just fuel dumps. Don't you get it? Yeah, it's not chemtrails, because if it was chemtrails, all of that would look like someone was trying to kill you and then tell a load of fucking lies, wouldn't they? And then Heathrow would have to jump on somebody with security because they've seen something they shouldn't see. And then CHRIS BOVEY would have to get patched like CIA so he can't tell anybody the truth, and then he becomes one of them. That's what would have to happen, innit? With his one eye. Yeah, because it's all just fuel dumping. Yeah? Innit? It's not chemtrails. Oh no, no, no. No, it couldn't be that. Couldn't be that. Could be everything else but that, even though it's discussed. Even though the elites are talking about it, it's never going to be that, because some people just don't want to believe that. And that's fine. And they think that clouds are wavy. They think that clouds have wavy lines, and they're absolutely blind and ignorant. Yeah, wavy clouds is normal. Yeah, because that's how you grew up. So name that cloud. Name the straight line cloud. Name those wavy clouds. Name them. People, just look, all it is, don't worry, yeah, everything that I was saying, obviously, because Chris said, you know, it's a fuel dump, so we've all got to believe him, haven't we? We've just got to believe Chris at the end of the day. Everybody believes Chris. That's a fuel dump. Look, it's all just a fuel dump. There's nothing unusual about it, yeah? Don't question it. There's a fuel dump, there's a fuel dump. Of course it was never like this 20 years ago, but you know, don't question. It's a fuel dump, and Chris said it was. And if you say anything different, you might end up with 8 security jumping on you and detaining you for like 20 hours while they question you and force-swayed you. They force-swayed you. I mean persuade, force-swayed you to believe and see it their way. Yeah? I got an offer you can't refuse. It's called fuel dumping, yeah? And they spent months thinking about this, you know, because their science is so pathetically weak, yeah? It's so pathetically weak, they've got to call it fuel dumping now, but as we know, chemtrails are being used, geoengineering is being used, yeah? This just goes on and on and on. So, you know, stay asleep, people, and don't question anything, because CHRIS BOVEY said so, okay? And obviously he's telling you the truth. Right? Don't believe your own eyes, just believe what someone tells you. That's what you should do. Don't do any research, yeah? Just believe what someone else tells you, okay? And if it's scary, if the information's scary and it pertaining to your own government, you know, then definitely don't believe it. Just sit there, yeah? You know, tie a yellow ribbon to a tree. At the end of the day, don't believe it. Don't believe anything. You know, just believe in the Tooth Fairy and Santa Claus, you know, and spend lots of money, which you actually spend your time earning, you know, that's your actual time. But don't worry about your actual time, because you've got to spend your money for an imaginary guy called Santa Claus. and do that every single year, even though it doesn't make any sense and is contrary to what the Bible teaches. Yeah? Just keep doing that. I don't question anything, because it is all okay. Because CHRIS Bovey said so. He told us this is all fuel dumping. So believe him, people. Don't believe your own eyes. Believe CHRIS Bovey. Yeah? Believe him. Because he tells the truth.
Here it is right here. You have the UN Environment Program. Big conspiracy theory doesn't exist. The reporter, says to Wigington, you sound crazy, right? Saying that the government can control the weather. Well, here it is right here from the UN. Or we have geoengineering symposiums where they're talking about these things going on. Experiments in solar aerosol spraying.
I totally forgot about this. We could actually, the guys could look up geoengineering patents that are filed with the U.S. Patent Office.
Right.
There's a list of them.
Right.
It's not like one or two. There's a whole list of them. I mean, this is actively going on right now, and it's happening above you. It's happening everywhere. I've shot plenty of chemtrails. I know what a chemtrail looks like from a contrail, and people say they don't like to use that word, but I mean, I call it as I see it, and I am not a big fan of what they're trying to do to us, and then how it's being played off as you're crazy if you bring it up.
Yeah.
It's just regular airplane traffic. There's more airplane traffic.
Well, and they say, well, why would they do that? Why would they do that to us when they're breathing the same air, the same sky? I mean, these are people that don't think ahead. They are spraying particles into the sky, heavy metals, aluminum, things like that, thinking that it's going to be blocking the sun. And that is all kind of raining down on us. I mean, oh, no, it's a conspiracy theory. Those are patents.
Doesn't exist.
Those are patents. Just look away. Nothing to see here. Now, this is from The Guardian, February 2015. Spy agencies fund climate research and hunt for weather weapon. And this is, of course, I think this stuff comes out years later. They've already got this weapon. It already exists. I actually have a clip where Michio Kaku was on CBS this morning talking about the alleged use of CIA weather weapons, like you were talking about in Vietnam, Operation Popeye. Watch how the news anchors react to him bringing this up.
In part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong.
Was alleged to. Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yes.
We realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing.
The government's not going to sue you.
Right.
I mean, it's ridiculous. The government's not going to sue him for saying that they did that. We have the guy who did it back in the Army and Air Force on the show. We interviewed him.
It's called Project Popeye. And then he goes on to talk about how, but we're doing this in the lab. We're testing with shooting these laser weapons up, and they're, manipulating the ionosphere. That has also been admitted that's exactly what was going on with the HARP program.
Exactly. And those HARP devices are all over the world. They're not just up in Alaska. There's a map of them. They have some in South America, some in North America, and they heat the ionosphere.
Yeah.
So what is that going to do? Well, they used to launch they were talking about launching nuclear bombs into the atmosphere just to see what it would do. So these people are not above spraying particles into the air just to see what it would do.
Right. I mean, this has been going on for decades, and they talk about the Chinese doing it and the Russians, but they're all doing it. And the HARP system here, this was David Walker. He's the Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Air Force for Science, Technology, and Engineering. And he was the one who actually dropped this bombshell. He was asked by Lisa Murkowski about, they were dismantling the HARP program there in Alaska. And so he was basically admitting, yeah, we've done everything we need to do with HARP. We're still leaving it up for whoever else might want to use it and do their own testing. But we used it for injecting energy into the ionosphere to be able to actually control it. But that work's been completed. They're done with it now. So, and they kind of put it off like, we messed around with HAARP, but it wasn't really anything that no. And then they talk about all these different wave blast simulators and these weapons that they're using underwater, that could actually cause tsunamis and things like this. But it's for global warming.
And instead of looking at things like, real pollution that is going on, like putting fluoride in the water supply, you're just taking a pollutant and dumping it in the water supply for everybody to ingest. Those things are looked at also as you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. But, we're talking about carbon, what we exhale and what plants breathe is the big pollutant in this air. And so the Pope's got to ride around in a Fiat, his little clown car. But, here's another article from The Guardian, geoengineering projects around the world. It's a whole map of projects that are currently ongoing. Well, this is in 2012, but projects that are ongoing to change the environment, to geoengineer the environment. And so you can't say this stuff doesn't exist. People are doing it in many different ways. Right. It's not just spraying stuff in the clouds.
Right. And it's funny because Michio Kaku in that interview, he talks about how, in the future, if you on your wedding day, you want to have a clear day, you'll be able to use this technology. It'll probably cost you $100,000 to ensure no rain. Can you imagine if there's just a bunch of people running around thinking that they need to have a rain here? And then, of course, if there is an issue with the drought like they're having in California, why don't they have
2,000 clear days? They're
right.
But they've got it under control. Though they're going to put black balls on top of their reservoir to absorb heat and make it evaporate faster and grow mold. And fungus was going to grow under these things. And, the Israelis did the same thing, but they did it with white balls. Right. And they said the white balls are the way to go, and they actually have them. It was a pretty interesting article. The balls had holes in them, so water would fill in them, so they would kind of sit in the water. But the water would condensate, evaporate to the top, and then condensate immediately. So there was less water loss than what you would normally have through evaporation.
Right. Well, and then what about the fact that there's plastic leaching into the water from the hot sun beating down on it?
Yeah, I guess they don't care about those gender-bending chemicals going into the water at all. That's probably, they're probably coated with BPA. I mean, who knows? These things are probably made out of solid BPA nodules.
Right, they're like, this will just bypass the middleman. Now we won't have to pay our plastic makers to inject these hormones, the BPH. But yeah, I had one of the writers from BuzzFeed kind of retweeted me when I was talking about how Kylie Jenner, she tweeted out to all of her, millions of Twitter followers this question about geoengineering and look up in the sky and what is this? And of course, that was the ultimate opportunity for the mainstream media or whatever, alternative mainstream. I wouldn't call them BuzzFeed mainstream. But they, for them to just poke fun at us and say, oh, look at their spraying. And, this is happening. Trisha from Oregon, go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Hi, guys.
Hello.
I must start by saying you guys are amazing. Thank you for what you do. But I want to get to the point. I live in Oregon. I see chemtrails every day. I take pictures every day. There's a gentleman on YouTube. It's called the HAARP Report. He puts reports out like every month or so. He has special satellite equipment. He shows you global infrared. Every little bit at a time. And if just a normal average person looks at it for more than 5 minutes, can see blatantly what they're doing to the West Coast.
Right. You're absolutely right, Trisha. Thank you. There is so much evidence out there online. We've interviewed people where they had documented all of these silks falling from the sky, getting video. There's planes flying above, and all of these silk threads are then covering their property, covering it.
Oregon is a beautiful state too, but it is being systematically destroyed with what is going on. And 10 years from now, if you take a snapshot now and then you take the same snapshot 10 years from now, you're going to see some major changes, some major deforestation, but not from log cutting. You're just going to see it from dying trees, which they blame on a beetle. It's always the beetle. It's not anything else. It's just this one beetle that's taking everything down.
Like I say, don't believe anything. Don't believe me. Believe CHRIS BOVEY with the one eye on his plane, and his one eye, and everybody like that will get on the news, and they'll get radio interviews, and then you can trust those radio interviewers as well. trust the radio interviewers that interview the guys with one eye and just say that everything's fine and the government's all good and they're nice to us, and this is not chemtrails in any way, right? And you're not being chemically assaulted. There's more planes, fuel, just throwing away fuel. We can do this, we can throw away fuel, we can just do it. Because, you know, we've got loads of money and fuel just replaces itself by magic, by daydreams. You know, as long as Chris Bovey's right, then we're all right, aren't we? Yeah? This is normal. And all you people that question it, well, stop questioning. You know, just do what you're told. That's what you should do. Do what you're told at the end of the day. Stop asking questions, because Chris Bovey doesn't like it. Him and his one eye doesn't like it. So don't go Bob-eye somebody else. See if I'm Bob-eyed. Obviously, you can't see very much depth perception with his one eye, but there you go. More fuel dumping. Everywhere you look, every single plane is just throwing away fuel, and it's normal. And the FAA has nothing to say about it, because, you know, replacing and substituting one dangerous chemical for another is perfectly fine in Chris Bovey's weird and wonderful world where he makes this shit up, basically. Yeah? And security would just jump on him, because it's normal, but the security would just jump on him anyway, you know, just to make sure that he's alright. You know, and they'll hold him and detain him for 8 hours just because they're making sure he's alright. It's got nothing to do with them trying to, you know, tell him what to think and what to do. It's got nothing to do with that. It's got to do with the fact that you must believe Chris Bovey. Yeah? Because he can be Bob-eyed, to tell you the truth. I mean, he makes one simple little video, and according to him, that's the explanation of, he knows exactly what's coming out of those nozzles. He tasted it. Yeah, he tasted it. He told me that he tasted it and shoved it up his bum, and that's why it's, you know, it's fuel dumping. It's just normal. The plane's just taken off, but it's all right. It doesn't need the fuel. Oh, can you see the plane right next to it? Can you see the plane right next to it? Yeah. There it is, just passing over that other Bovey line. We'll call them Bovey line, shall we, instead of chemtrails. Because Chris knows what they are. He's God after all. He is God. You know, fuel dumping. Fuel dumping. Like when a plane takes off and goes up in the air like that one, and like that one, they've got to throw away all the fuel because they don't want to get to where they're getting to. It's about risk, mate. It's like gambling. You get on a plane, yeah, we're going to throw all the fuel away, like Russian roulette, and see if we can actually land somewhere safe. Because we don't need the fuel, because Chris Bovey said so. Yeah.